The film opens with an unsettling statement informing us that one crosses paths with at least 20 assassins throughout one's lifetime, without knowing it. We see two guys riding at night. The driver, Hunter, stops because he sees a person ahead having car troubles. His friend Adam asks if he really wants to do this at 2 o'clock at night. Hunter shows that he does by exiting the vehicle to check on the problem. Adam yells he will leave if Hunter does not return in 5 minutes. Once Hunter approaches, he sees the person is a woman who says she's not good with cars. She also says there is no service for her to call anyone for help. Since she is curious to know where he is headed, he says he's going to Camp Echo Lake. We learn it used to be called Camp Pleasant Lake, until it was bought by the Rutherfords, who wanted to turn it into a horror camp. Hunter says people pay good money to relive legendary horror events. This week's theme is the Camp of Horror. It's a story of the Meadows family. It happened 20 years ago this weekend. The couple John and Ruby Meadows dropped their kids off at the camp. Alas, their daughter Echo was kidnapped. The lake was closed due to this incident. To make the situation worse, the parents were butchered by a maniac. The woman asks Hunter what happened to Echo, to which he replies she was never seen again. He thinks her brother ended up in foster care. The reason he's going to the camp is that he was hired to do the special effects for it. When he tells her his friend thinks she's a serial assassin, our attention falls on Adam being nervous. The woman asks how many lives should a person take to be labeled a serial assassin. At this moment, Adam exits the vehicle to see what is going on. He should have stayed inside because a masked person walks behind to take Adam's life. He falls on the vehicle, causing its alarm to sound. Hunter walks over to it and sees his lifeless friend. His lack of caution in this dire time gets him attacked too. We don't see what happens to the woman. We see several people standing at the camp. Most of them wear the same shirt that shows they are affiliated with it. They wait for a bus to arrive that contains the camp's visitors. One of them is Jonah, who comes to the owners, the Rutherfords. He wants to do a quick interview with them, but gets told by Rick Rutherford to do it later. Rick's wife, Darlene, asks him if he has seen Hunter. Her husband doesn't have a high opinion of him. He says they put Hunter in a cabin in the woods so the other campers would not see him. Darlene says they sunk a lot of money into this camp, and she expects it to go well. At night, a crowd is gathered there. One of the workers starts to tell the story of the Meadows family. The visitors express their desire to hear it. Thus, the speaker dives into it, starting from the very beginning. His talk gets transformed to us going back in time to the year 2002. Echo sits in her room, painting a mask that looks very much like the mask of the person who took the lives of Hunter and Adam. Her brother, Jasper, walks in to say their parents are going to a camp this weekend. Echo shows him her mask before going to show it to their parents. Switching to them, we see the couple arguing. Ruby tells John this is her last go at this marriage. If he wants it to work, he will have to take this retreat seriously. Coming to them, Echo tells her parents to be happy. John kindly lies to his daughter that they were not arguing. They were just talking about how excited they are. Echo says her friends at school said her parents were going to get separated. They show love to their daughter, but not to each other. When the family is riding, John complains that Ruby missed a turn. Now he thinks they will run out of gas. He shows his anger, prompting Echo to cry. Ruby is calmer, not wanting to fight. So far, the most troublesome of the parents seems to be John. They are eating at a restaurant. Echo wants to use the restroom and John wants Ruby to go with her. Although the girl considers herself big enough to not require her mom's help, John insists that Ruby still goes with her. Once Ruby returns from there, Echo is not with her. She thought her daughter was right behind her. Getting angry, John says she left Echo inside again. We see the girl entering the employees-only room. A tattooed man occupies it with a candy that Echo says is her favorite. Unfortunately, she tells him her parents said she can't have any candy until Halloween. The man says he is Lou, and no one is there to stop her. Soon they hear her father calling out to her. Lou gives her the candy before she goes. He also creepily calls her his sweet little princess. John enters, asking Echo what he told her about talking to strangers. Lou says he's not a stranger because he works there. As John is leaving with Echo, a man dressed in black appears. There is an unsettling vibe to him. He calls John lucky and says Lou is a good man. He wants John to know the next person he sees might not be good. Furthermore, he advises the dad to watch out for his daughter. After John leaves, the man in black whispers something to Lou. John accidentally bumps into a man upon returning to the rest of his family. The man's friend says some people don't like being bumped into. John orders Ruby they have to go. Hearing this makes the man he bumped into say that this is no way to speak to one's wife. The group of people acts intimidating, and the family tries to leave, but a lady stands in their way. Like the man dressed in black, she too says the next person might not be nice. Jasper tells her she isn't nice. Prior to the family leaving, the lady tells John to treat them right, for they won't be around forever. When they leave, the lady tells a man named Tim to get the sheriff on the phone. He gets to it instantly. The lady is Esmeralda, who receives the phone with the sheriff on it. She tells him that Lou is following a family straight into the camp. Moving along, the family arrives at the camp and Jasper exits the car first. His sister doesn't look like she wants to be there. Jasper comes to a place that has several kids there. A man is there too, telling the boy he is Corbin. Soon Echo appears and says she is Jasper's older sister. She puts on her yellow mask, which prompts a boy to ask what it's supposed to be. She says it's a happy mask. The boy becomes an instant enemy by saying it is the stupidest thing he has heard. Jasper stands up to the boy to protect his sister. In the meantime, Echo drops her mask, and the hooligan steps on it. Jasper tells her not to worry about these losers, yet she runs away. Now the kids poke fun at him. Further away from them, Echo sits alone with her broken mask. She also calls her mask stupid before she tosses it. She worries that no one wants to be her friend. The man who wore all black draws close to the girl. He picks up the two halves of her mask. She recognizes him and he says he is Ezra, Lou's father. Since she says she hates it there, he gets her to smile. He says his camp is nearby. Echo takes out the candy Lou gave her, saying she likes him. Ezra says he has a lot more of those candies at his camp. He assures her they will return for her brother. Switching to the other kids, Corbin breaks up a fight that is about to happen between Jasper and the hooligan. In a short time, Jasper sees Echo walking away with Ezra into a tunnel. Following this, we leave the story to go back to the present time. The speaker says Echo was never seen again. A visitor remarks that rumor has it Echo still roams these woods. An older man says he heard she comes back every Halloween to look for Jasper. However, one visitor is skeptical. He says the Rutherfords made this story up to make money. A different man wants to know what happened to Jasper. The speaker named Mike says neither he nor his sister were seen again. For some reason, he slightly pushes the man who asked the question. Soon the owners join the crowd. Rick asks them if they want to hear the real story, and they do. Thus Rick says that legend says Echo was kidnapped by an evil man because he desperately wanted a daughter. Esmeralda had the same desire. The problem is that they could not get one. Now Darlene takes over to say when the parents left camp, they were butchered. The one who took their lives was never found. Rick tells the visitors that on this day, Echo could slash them. They will get to relive the horror that happened 20 years ago. Everyone cheers hearing these exciting words. The crowd is elsewhere, and they see a vehicle in the distance. A lady who works for the camp instructs them all to run as part of the show. Inside the vehicle sits the person in the yellow mask. The next scene has the camp crew at the tunnel where Echo was taken. They rehearse to each other what they will say to the paying visitors. Mike says tomorrow they will all be pretending to be butchered one by one. The owners will be telling the visitors that Echo took them. While they are there talking, we see the one in the yellow mask standing nearby with a knife. During his sleep, the crew member Jacob gets a visit from the yellow mask. He or she touches Jacob's hand with a hot fire poker. Confused, he says he thought it was supposed to be fake. Jacob exits his tent and sees the masked culprit. He gets impaled lethally with the poker. What he thought was going to be a fake demise for him turned out to be very real. The next day, the camp crew talks about Jacob not being with them. Soon Mike happens across a puddle of blood near Jacob's tent. One of the members says it looks fake. At this moment, Mike sees the man he pushed and tells him he's not supposed to be in this area. Rick appears to say Hunter did a great job with the blood. Strangely, Mike notices the man he was speaking to has vanished. He asks Rick who is going to get removed next, but Rick simply laughs without answering. Later, we see two guys sitting restrained together. The masked culprit is with them, cutting one of them with a knife. The man looks like an older Lou. Hunter is there too and gets slapped to wake up. Supposedly, he has survived his attack, yet now the yellow mask seems to take his life. The culprit shows Lou a faded photo. It reminds him of how someone lied lifelessly somewhere. He gets a hard kick in the head to knock him out. Switching to the visitors, they talk among themselves. One man says it's nonsense they did not get to witness Jacob getting his fake demise. Once another visitor yells they want to see blood, the owners arrive. The visitors tell them they wanted to see Jacob perish, and not merely see a puddle of blood. Rick promises them today will be epic. The visitor whom Mike pushed earlier says he saw someone by the fire pit. This time, Mike pushes him harder, causing the man to fall. The others laugh at him. At a different time, a visitor lady approaches the man who got pushed. He sits alone and she asks him what is wrong. He replies he does not like getting made fun of. She advises him not to listen to Mike, but he grabs her arm, saying she was a part of it. In the next scene, Rick tells Darlene he cannot believe Hunter messed with them like this. He says they have no culprit, meaning the visitors will get angry. We learn they each paid an impressive $10,000 to be at the camp this weekend. If the visitors get upset, Rick worries about losing a lot of money. They have to figure something out. Afterward, we see the visitors gathered. They complain again. However, upon seeing the outcast visitor with the masked culprit behind him, they get excited. The masked assassin cuts his neck, and they all say the former is Echo. The culprit also takes the life of a worker, and the lady who showed sympathy to the outcast. Rick yells enthusiastically that they wanted blood, so they got it. They are all happy, not knowing this is real. Walking alone, Darlene yells out to Hunter because they think he is acting as the culprit. She yells that Rick thinks Hunter is doing a great job. Soon she gets a text message on her phone from Hunter, telling her to turn around. Listening to it, she does not see him. She gets another message instructing her to do the same. The masked culprit jumps behind the woman. He or she stabs Darlene in the stomach, and she learns the reality of what is going on. When she asks who the masked person is, she gets kicked in the head. An employee asks Rich where his wife is. He says she was supposed to be back by now. Thus, he tells Mike to go look for her. At night, Mike looks for Darlene, in the area where she had her life stolen. He finds blood on the ground and hears something close by. It doesn't take long for him to realize it's his time for his demise to be staged. He says he will give the visitors a show. Once the culprit appears in front of him, Mike thinks it is Hunter. He tells the yellow mask to give the people a good show. He yells, pretending to ask if it is Echo. He pleads for her not to hurt him. A real stab to the stomach injects him with confusion. He chases the culprit while saying he does not get paid enough for this. The chase leads him into an area that is new to him. He removes a cover to reveal a restrained Lou. Mike is perplexed as to who the man is. He isn't given a chance to learn, for the culprit knocks Mike out from behind. Following this, Rick tells his employees tonight they all perish by Echo's hands. After saying this, he goes to look for his wife due to thinking she is cheating on him with Mike. He is alone, yelling out to her. He even badmouths her to himself. The culprit surprises him, and Rick demands to know where Darlene is along with Mike. The man gets aggressive with whom he thinks is Hunter, but the culprit gives him a good stab before removing his or her mask for Rick to see who is truly behind it. The surprise isn't ruined for us, though. We see Mike being restrained beside Lou. The culprit delivers pain to Lou without taking his life. In the former's opinion, the man must suffer. Shifting to the visitors, some of them are relaxing in an RV. In the meantime, the culprit spills gasoline near the RV. Soon they all decide to go elsewhere. The problem is that they notice the door is locked. The culprit ignites the gasoline and the visitors learn about it in a short time. They struggle to be set free. From overhead, we watch the RV explode. The next scene has the camp employees wondering where Rick is. The culprit arrives to take the life of a woman. Instead of running away in fear, they all cheer. The mystery assassin is having a very easy time making them perish one by one because they don't believe it's real. They even ask for it, admiring what they think are special effects. Amid the culprit's effortless spree, he or she suddenly decides to run away without finishing everyone. Later, the culprit is with Lou, who asks if he will get out of this. A photo of two people is shown to him, and he doesn't know who they are. Once the culprit shows him another photo, Lou says he didn't want to partake in what he sees in it. What he's talking about starts getting revealed in another visit to 2002. The couple is in their car, arguing again. John complains about someone following them in a car. Therefore, he pulls over, and the other person does the same. The person behind them happens to be Lou. His brother is with him. Lou tells John his parents always wanted a little princess. Such words prompt John to demand to know what Lou is talking about. Ruby tries to leave, yet the brother grabs her. Lou yells he does not want to do what he is about to do. He just has to do it. So the brothers end up choking the couple with ropes to their demise. Back in the present, Lou tells the culprit his dad kidnapped a girl that day. Finally, we hear the person behind the mask speak, and the voice belongs to a male. He says the girl that Lou mentioned has a name. It is Echo Meadows. He yells. When Mike asks if the culprit is Jasper, the culprit removes his mask to reveal he is the guy Mike pushed twice. Lou laughs seeing him, causing Jasper to laugh in return. Surprisingly, another masked person draws close to Jasper. This one reveals herself to be a young lady. Lou recognizes her as Echo, calling her a sweet little princess again. He says he knew she would return. He also says she should have never done what she did. We get a flashback of little Echo beating Ezra with a hammer. The man asks her why she's doing this because they love her, but she strikes him to his demise. Esmeralda walks into the room to witness it. She tells Echo she was supposed to be their daughter. Despite the woman seeing her bloody husband lying there, she tells Echo to come to Mama. The girl angrily yells they had their dumb sons assassinate her parents. For those hurtful words, Esmeralda calls Echo ungrateful and tries to hurt her. Thankfully, the girl strikes her first prior to taking her life. Once she runs away, Lou arrives to see the massacre she committed. He laments due to the demise of his parents. He knows Echo did it. Back in the present, he says they loved her, and she took their lives. Echo says his parents took everything from her. Consequently, Jasper stabs Lou in the stomach. Echo says she will see him in hell. The siblings subtract his life by choking him with a rope, as he did to their parents. Shifting to the surviving visitors and employees, they say it's their last day at the camp. From a moderate distance, Jasper starts talking loudly to them. He says they came to hear the story of Echo and her family. They all cheer. Someone is sitting on a chair beside Jasper, covered by a red cloth. He tells them to enjoy the closing act as he undoes the cover. The person revealed is Mike. When Jasper removes his gag, Mike yells for the crowd to run. This excites them, but Mike is being serious. He has never been more serious in his life. Alas, his yells are met with mockery. Jasper jumps to two of the camp workers and lifts his mask, asking if they remember him. He has a second mask, which he splits in two to remind them of who he is. One of the workers was that hooligan who stepped on Echo's mask. Remembering him, they now become scared. It's too late to run though, for Jasper takes their lives. The visitors continue to be oblivious to the carnage, allowing Jasper to easily deal with them. A man with long hair is happy that he is the last to perish. Jasper tells him he's wrong due to Mike being the last. He stabs the man in the head. Everyone has met their demise without knowing what was truly going on. Mike pleads to be released. He even apologizes for what he has done and says he won't say anything if he goes free. He tells Jasper they were only kids. So was his sister, replies Jasper. With those final words, he finishes off Mike. Later, we see a new batch of visitors arrive at the camp. Echo and Jasper stand together holding hands as they watch the new arrivals. Taking off their masks, the siblings smile. One of the new visitors walks alone until she meets Jasper. She rudely asks him who he is. Once she calls him a loser, he grabs the offensive lady to show her a photo of perhaps her from the past acting in an intimidating way. Jasper pushes her down and she runs away in fear. She reaches a building, where she starts taking photos of things there. While she's busy taking a photo of herself, Echo surprises her. Since Echo just hums, the lady asks what is wrong with her. Echo tells her they are all the same. We are reminded of who this lady is. She was one of the kids who made fun of little Echo. Thus she repeatedly stabs the lady, leaving her no chance to survive. Afterward, Jasper draws near his sister and says it will be okay. Echo kicks the lady down before the menacing siblings put on their masks to start dealing with the others.